Saturday night thoughts. Cancer sucks. I've watched family members go through it. Never thought I would, but here we are. More to come on that. I'm grateful. One thing, being diagnosed with something so big brought out in me is I always thought I was a grateful person, but now I'm even more, I don't know what's going on there, grateful for the little things, for the everyday things. You know, my daughter checks on me. My daughters, both of them, each in their own way. The kitchen's cleaned every day. You get checked on. Everyone's just here. One thing that I've learned is when you are the patient, you want to make everybody else feel okay. You say you're okay. You make light of it because you want everybody else to be okay. You try to prepare them for what's coming, and now I have to face the reality of what's coming. I've already had my mastectomy, breast cancer, chemo. I had told my doctor from day one I was afraid of two things, chemo and losing my hair. And at first we thought that wasn't going to be a factor, and now it is, in fact, a factor. I will be doing chemo and I will lose my hair. And in the grand scheme of things, that's okay. I can lose my hair to save my life. In the everyday things, it's different. So, breast cancer, I always thought I was an advocate for it. I was in my 20s. My sister-in-law was diagnosed with it. Hers had metastasized. By the time they found it, she died within 2 years. And I got behind it. I was pink ribbon. I was the walk in Lafayette. We camped out overnight at the Cajun Dome. We walked all night. I wore the pink bracelets, wore the pink, got the mammograms, got the yearly checkup, told everybody I could tell, get checked. And I really thought I was doing it, not only for myself, but for others. Getting the word out, getting myself checked. In my 30s was my first checks, and one of my first mammograms in Lafayette was at Women's and Children's. They said, you have dense breasts. We want to do some further looking. And at that time I was thin. I was thinner than I am now. I was pre-menopause. I was a 34B. And they said I had dense breast. And did a sonogram. Sonogram came back okay. But they put it in my notes. They would check. Because now I've been diagnosed with dense breasts. Every year, got checked, or I got checked whenever my insurance would roll around. Maybe it was every other year. I don't remember early on. I'm 58 now. But I got my mammogram there at, I started going to what is now Solace in Lafayette at River Ranch for years. Got the pink bracelet, got the pink ribbon, pink suckers. Got my mammogram. And every couple years it would come back around. You have dense breast. We need to do further. We need to do a sonogram. We need to do a more digital enhanced mammogram. Always came back okay. And COVID came around. Fast forward almost 20 years. Didn't get checked. COVID year. Didn't have insurance. Just moved to Florida. Blah, blah, blah. A year later, got my checkup. Everything was fine. A year later, got my checkup. A-okay. Dense breast was noted. Then 2024. I tend to always get my yearly checkups in the fall. It just happens that way. I get my OBGYN, my breast check, all of it usually October, November. Not just because October is breast cancer awareness, more on that, but just it's always just happened that way. Went to the doctor. She did her hand check, passed that, working on mammogram. And the lady doing the mammogram in Panama City Beach, Florida, she seemed very annoyed when I was in there. And if anybody's had a mammogram, you're very vulnerable. You're standing there with no top, your breast out exposed, placed on a plate, or I say a plate, but placed out on the machine, and they want to get it just right, so they're flopping it up there and pulling the other machine down, and it's placed between two plates that press together to take the images that are needed. And this lady was visibly annoyed. And it got to where I was like, is she annoyed with me? Is it my breast? Did she not want to work today? Like, what is going on? I just wanted to get out of there because you're vulnerable, right? She leads me no other, like, she doesn't show she's concerned with anything. She just seems annoyed by my breasts. They were just annoying her. So when I leave, I made a comment to the lady at the desk. Hey, I don't think she really is feeling it today. She doesn't seem to want to be here. Leave, not thinking much. A week, maybe not quite 2 weeks go by. I don't get a phone call. I'm scrolling through email, and I find an email with that doctor's office. They had kind of like you can do your My Patient portal, but they didn't have a app for a portal. It just came through email, and it said new test results. So I go into it, click into it, and Pap smear came back fine. Note from the doctor. They would like for me to call them because they had an incomplete mammogram on the right breast. Incomplete. I can print the letter. It's still in my email. So I immediately call, thinking they're going to want a dense breast. They're going to want to do further. I call, girl answers. She goes, oh, well, the tech's not here. We'll have her call you back. Leave your name and number. I don't get a call back. I call again. I don't get a call back. A week later, the doctor sends another urgent message, this time urgent, saying, test results in. I call again. They say, well, she's not in today. We'll leave a message. I state, got 2 urgent messages. I need to schedule a follow-up diagnostic mammogram. Well, it has to be done through the tech. She'll call you. No call. I start getting a little concerned. I contact it was in Bay County, Florida, Panama City, Florida. I contact one of the diagnostic places, Bay County, where I think I would go. She said, yeah, this is where you would go. Look, we can't schedule it. She says, I'll tell you what, I'll tentatively schedule it. Most of the time, these are, they're not finding of any malignant cancer, but we'll get it tentatively scheduled. But we can't do it until the doctor's office calls us. She goes, I'll tell you what, I'll email them. So she schedules the diagnostic mammogram. It was on a Thursday, and she said, I'm going to send the email. It's late. Probably won't hear back from them till Monday, but we'll call you. Nobody called. Falls into January. Life happens. I think I called back one more time, and then just work and things. And then I start interviewing for a job and decide I want to move home. For those of you that know, you don't know, I had moved to Florida during the pandemic. I was living on the beach, Panama City Beach. It was beautiful, but decided it was time to come back to Louisiana and be with family, be with grands. I start applying, and I get an interview with Home Goods. And time, it's a couple weeks, it's a couple months. Now I get the job, and they move me here. They move me back. I'm not even thinking about the mammogram, because my thought is, if it was that important, they would have called, and they didn't. So it's probably just dense breast, like a couple dozen times before. I, spend a month training in Hammond. I come back, we find a place to live. It's just a lot of hubbub, a lot of things happening. And September 2025, I have moles. I look for cancer. I get tested every year. Breast, moles, skin, all the things. And I noticed when I raised my hands up, my right breast had a weird dent in it, like it dented in. My first thought was, wow, yeah, I lost some weight. Moving. Home Goods is a very physical job. Love it, by the way, love it. Manager at Ulta in Florida, but love that too. But Home Goods is very physical. It's very homey. It's decoration. It's furniture. It's all the fun things. Maybe not quite a week later, get out of the shower, raise my arms up, see it again. Something about it just made me think, let me check it. So I laid down on the bed, I did a hand check, and I felt the lump. About the size, and if I had to describe it, it was like egg-shaped and about the size of a small egg. Right breast. Scary. Once I felt it, I felt it. There was no ifs, ands, buts, maybes. But it wasn't what they always say. They say it's the size of a pea. It's firm. It doesn't move. Mine was squishy. It was large. I didn't have skin puckering. I didn't have nipple puckering. I didn't have all the typical symptoms that they might say you have. I already had this is late September, maybe early October. I already have my yearly checkup scheduled because that's what I do for the OBGYN. It was second week of October. So I said, okay, good. I'm going to see him next week. We're going to get to the bottom of it. He feels it. He said, yeah, I absolutely feel it. It's squishy though, but we're going to go ahead and now, mind you, I already have my yearly mammogram scheduled at Solace on November 14th. Yearly regular, because that's what I do. Doctor says, well, now you need a diagnostic. He gave me the order. He said, go ahead and call. The nurse came in and said, call all around, because by now it's early October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Everybody's booked. It's what we want, right? Everybody's getting their breast checked. So first I called Solace, place I've been going to 10 years, 12 years of records. I mean, I did leave for 5 years, but came back. They have my records. Scheduled November 14th. I said, got a lump. Doctor wants a diagnostic. I'm known to have dense breast. Oh, sure. We can get you in on December 31st. And I said, oh, wait. Well, can't I just do it on November 14th? No. That will be canceled now. So they canceled that appointment. And I says, well, okay. So they scheduled me for the 31st. But I remember the nurse saying, call everywhere. Call. Keep calling. And I did. I called New Iberia hospitals. I called Abbeville hospitals. I called Lafayette hospitals. I called, or hospitals and, whoever does mammograms. And Crowley. Well, Abbeville said, oh, we can get you in December 2nd, I think, or something, early in December. Mind you, it's early October. Crowley says we can get you in early November. They got the earliest appointment I can actually get in. So I took it, canceled the others. I want to say it was November 2nd. It was a Monday. I stand corrected if it's not. I go to Crowley, not knowing at the time it's through Oxnard now. And once I went there, I'm now in the Oxnard system, and I'm with the Oxnard doctors, which I am grateful for. But I get the diagnostic mammogram. They do a sonogram. They said, yeah, you need a biopsy. This was a Monday. I go back. They got me in on the Wednesday. 2 days later, she does the biopsy with the sonogram and comes in and says, here's what we see. Gotta wait for the pathology reports, but here's what we see. So I knew something wasn't right, but I had to wait for the official pathology report. So several days go by. It's now November 11th. I believe it was a Tuesday. On my way to work, I get the phone call from the radiologist in Crowley. Invasive mammary carcinoma, tested positive. And she said, interestingly, with both ductal and lobular features. I have no clue what this means at this point. All I hear is I have breast cancer. She says, we will be in touch. MRI is the next thing. I actually got 2 phone calls. The radiologist called me, and later on the one who actually did the sonogram called. So fast forward, I do the mammogram, I do the MRI, and it comes back, yes, cancer, invasive mammary carcinoma with ductal and lobular features. Ductal carcinoma starts in the milk duct. Lobular grows different. Most cancers grow in clusters. So that forms a tumor, a ball. Maybe not a perfect ball, but some sort of round feature. Most breast cancers, it's almost perfectly round, like a pea. Mine, not so much. The lobular feature, it grows, the cells form in a line, like instead of clustering and forming a ball, they grow in a line, dot, 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 dot. And it's almost web-like. So my ductal carcinoma, mammary carcinoma, which had ductal and lobular features, which means the duct was cancer, and then forming off of the duct was lobular cancer. It made a line, and it actually tethered to my pectoral muscle, which is what caused the dent that I saw in September. Because it was pulling, once it attached to that pectoral muscle, it was pulling the tumor, which was tugging it backwards. So the tumor did not get in my nipple, it did not get on my skin, but it did get in my muscle. We didn't know the extent until the surgery, and because of the width of the actual tumor size, which they don't measure it just by the actual tumor, they measure it by, they give certain margins and spaces, and that's for the scientists and doctors, but they didn't feel they could do a lumpectomy. They went for a mastectomy. But until she got in there, she didn't know the extent of the pec muscle. Well, the extent was, because she told me, I'm going to scrape the muscle. We're going to get that cancer out of the muscle. What she told us after the surgery was my pec muscle was full of little white dots. That was the lobular cancer. She scraped it as best she could. The pathology came back. I got clear margins in the breast. I got clear margins in the lymph nodes. I got clear margins with the nipple and the skin and all the other places except the pec muscle. I could not get clear margins. So stage 4 in the pec. Stage 3 in the breast or the chest. I don't have a breast anymore. Doctors went with stage 3 as far as treatment, but because of the involvement in the muscle, I have to have more extensive treatment. At first they said lumpectomy, radiation, 10 years hormone therapy, you're good. Then it was upgraded to got to do a mastectomy, no chemo, radiation, hormone therapy, hormone blocking therapy. After the surgery and the pathology came back, it was mastectomy, pec muscle removal, not all of it, but most of it, chemotherapy, and radiation. So now I need 16 weeks, might be 18. I'm having a hard time calculating the last set of chemotherapy. It's called AC-T. So it's 2 types for one section and then 1 type for the other. It's a pretty standard regimen for breast cancer, especially post menopause. I'm 58 years old. I'm past menopause by several years. My breast cancer is estrogen, progesterone positive, HER2 negative. I do not carry the BRCA gene. Typically a slow growing cancer, but that lobular that attached to my pec changed that. It became fast growing. So chemo, that's where I'm at now. She said I will lose hair. She suggested I get these Susie pads, mitts, and for the hands and the feet, and then you freeze these little refreezable things and wear them, because you get neuropathy of the hands and feet. Also, you can lose nails and fingernails and toenails. I will lose my hair. All of it. Not just my head of hair. Brows, lashes, face hair, leg hair, lady hair, all of my hair. Nose hair, which the loss of nose hair, yay, ding, ding, ding. Nose runs, nose bleeds, more susceptible to bacteria, which means you're more susceptible to sickness. Chemo kills your good cells with the bad, so your immune system's shot. No nose hair. You get where I'm going. Scary? Yeah. Yeah. I'll keep you posted. I'm new to this, one of my first videos. I know I'm not looking tidy, I'm not professional, I don't have edits, I don't have backgrounds, but come on this journey with me because people need to know. I thought I was informed, I thought I was doing all the right things, and turns out I was wrong. So if I could help anybody, one person, 2 people, 10 people, then this is worth it. And it helps me along my way to talk through it, to share my thoughts and fears and worries. So yeah, my name's Julie. I'm 58 years old. I have breast cancer that has metastasized to my muscle. I did do a bone scan. I did do a CT scan. Bone scan came back clear. No metastasis is showing to the bones at this time. The only thing on the CT scan was 2 small nodules on the lungs that they said they typically don't worry about. The only worry, because I do have breast cancer, could be spread, could just be damage from former illness. You know, I've had COVID, I've had pneumonia, I've had the things. I've got 58-year-old lungs. But I don't believe I'm going to be categorized as stage 4. If I am, well, I will let you know. But as of right now, I'm being treated as stage 3. Even though in my muscle it's categorized as 4A, I'm being classified as 3. They did put me out of work until early September, which means I have no income. Right now my company's been good. I've only been with them less than a year. I was only with them 3 months when I was diagnosed. They moved me here. They had enough faith in me that they paid me to move here. They paid for my move. They paid me short-term disability. When I signed up for all my insurance, I was like, you know what? I've had all the extras and bells and whistles in my 5 years with Ulta, 4.5 years. I was like, I'm healthy, I'm good. I'm going to just get the basic, and then I'll relook at it after a year. Because I was moving, I was finding a place, I was doing all the things. So I got the basic insurance, and I only had short-term disability. Formerly with Ulta, I had short-term, long-term, AFLAC, cancer fund, hospital stay extra, blah, blah, blah. So the short term they're paying out, they paid me 4 weeks, 100%. After that, it changes to 60%. I have a few more weeks at 60% and then nothing. And I'm out until September 2nd. I'm grateful they had what they had, though. I'm waiting now. Originally, my leave was approved until January 28th. Because it was originally only for the surgery. We didn't think I needed chemo. I was going to have radiation and be able to work through it. So I should have been able to go back to work. But with the pathology and all the learning since, my doctor put me out on leave. She doesn't want me working physically or around a lot of people, because when on chemo, you have no immune system. You can't be around a lot of people. I haven't heard back to see if this extension of my LOA has been approved. If it's approved, I'll still be on LOA, leave of absence, but I won't have any pay left. No pay. So we'll see. I'm waiting to hear. If that goes south and something goes wrong there, then I'll see what there is in Louisiana I can apply for. I'm more wanting to talk about the diagnosis, the treatment, and prevention. I want others to know, because I really don't want anyone else to go through what I'm going through. I mean, otherwise, healthy 58-year-old, even the doctor said the worst thing that's happened to me since in my adult life was I had my gallbladder removed. CT scan showed, clear, everything. Lived in South Louisiana for many years, enjoy my beverages. I thought, oh, my liver's going to show some, fatty liver. Nope. They said I had one small cyst, and it was at the site where my gallbladder was removed, and they're not worried about it. I had a slight hiatal hernia, which I didn't even know I had, but that was it. 58 years old. A slight hiatal hernia, a small cyst on my liver where my gallbladder was removed, and a nodule on my lung that shows from former sickness. Didn't even show arthritis in the bones, or I suppose if they looked hard enough they could see more, but based on the scans done. But I got cancer. Anyways, follow me, come with me. Let's ride this journey. Let's ride this cancer ride together. Thank you for listening, and I'll have follow-up videos. I don't know if this will be the first one posted or maybe not, because I've been babbling. Like I said, I'm not professional. I'm sitting on my bed. This is my wall. This is the wedge pillow from after the surgery. I am not fancy. I don't have, equipment. So let's see. Thank you.